So this new MacBook can hear you even when it's closed. But why is it such a big deal? Well, imagine if your laptop could listen in on your conversations whenever it wanted to. That's exactly what this new MacBook can do. It's all thanks to one small change that Apple made. But before we go into that, first we need to talk about how MacBooks typically work. See, traditionally, the microphone on a MacBook only works when the lid is open. That way you can talk to Siri or record clips with the built-in voice recorder app or FaceTime. But as soon as you close the lid, the microphone stops working. That's by design. It prevents the computer from listening in on you when you don't want it to. But Apple changed that with the latest generation of MacBook. These new MacBooks have a tiny chip called the M2, and for the first time ever, Apple put that M2 chip inside the body of a MacBook Air. They also included a 1080p webcam and a bigger battery. So those are the big headlining features, right? Well, there is one more small but significant change that Apple made. The microphone on this new MacBook Air can now record audio even when the device is closed. Now you might be thinking, who cares? I never use my mic when my MacBook is closed. Well, Apple clearly thinks it's a big enough feature to mention in its marketing material. In fact, they make it sound like an awesome privacy feature. They say the M2 chip inside this MacBook has dedicated hardware for on-device AI processing. Apple uses that processing power to enable this always-on listening feature. Apple says that when you close the lid of your MacBook, it will mute your microphone after a few seconds. But then, anytime you start speaking, the MacBook will automatically start recording audio. Then once you open the lid back up, the MacBook will stop recording. And again, Apple calls this a privacy feature. But let's be honest, it's not like most people are too worried about their MacBook recording them while it's closed. For most people, the biggest concern is that their MacBook could be listening in on them when they don't want it to. And yes, Apple does have some privacy features built in. For example, you can manually turn off the microphone at any time, or you can place a physical cover over it. And Apple says that the microphone array on these new MacBooks is designed in a way to limit the direction it can hear from. Apple says it can only hear from the sides and in front of the device. So if you place the MacBook on a table and step away from it, the MacBook should not be able to hear anything you say. But does that actually work? Well, a reporter at a major tech publication tested this out. He used a MacBook Air M2 to play a recording of someone talking, while he placed it in different positions around the room. And in almost every position, the MacBook was able to hear the recording clearly. Even when the MacBook was placed in the corner of a room angled away from the speaker, it could still pick up the recording. Okay, so this new feature isn't much of a privacy feature, but it could be useful for things like transcription or voice recognition. Unfortunately, Apple didn't include any of those features with this update. Maybe they'll come later. But until then, you'll just have to make do with using the voice recorder app. Oh, and one last thing. Apparently, this always-on listening feature is only available on the MacBook Air M2, so if you're hoping to get this feature on the MacBook Pro M2, too bad, you're out of luck. This is the host. And if I ever said anything that offended you, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching till the end, and I'll see you in the next video.